Hey everybody, welcome back to the Print 3D channel. Today is September 18th, and that means day 261 of the 3DP 365 project. And on today's episode, we printed out Bombarde de Léonard da Vinci. I think I'm saying that right. It's basically Leonardo da Vinci's design for an enormous cannon, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thank you for joining me here for day 261 of the 3DP 365 project. On today's episode, we printed out Leonardo da Vinci's design for an enormous cannon. This is a massive cannon. I believe that the true term for this is Bombarde de Leonardo da Vinci. I think that's what it's called. I'm not really good, I think, with Italian. I think that's the language that this is. But this is designed by NOP21. And I've printed quite a few of his models in the past, and they are super well designed, very well engineered, and they go together so easily. All the joints fit together, just snap fit. There's no glue needed. There's tons of these little pins that print out, and they were a little bit of that challenge to get this to print. The biggest challenge on this was there's a threaded screw rod in the base of the model that turns the cannon, and I'll show you. And sorry, this is loud. It may be a little bit crackly noise, but it actually turns that. You can see it's turning, and it turns the position of the cannon. And it's a very, very cool design. We downloaded this model from Thingiverse, from NOP21's collection of really, really cool design stuff. And we actually split this up into two different colors of MatterHackers Pro Series PLA, because I wanted to represent the true parts of the cannon. I would believe, in my mind, that the base would be built out of wood, so we printed that in MatterHackers Pro Series PLA Brown, and the rest of the parts would be metal. I think this probably would be a combination of wood and metal, but I decided to print it all in one color for the cannon parts, and we used the silver in MatterHackers Pro Series PLA. And the parts themselves, they all printed out pretty easily. The biggest challenge, again, like I said, was the hardware parts, including this little threaded rod that's down through the center of the model. But everything else printed out really, really easy. We downloaded this from Thingiverse, like I said, and then we sent each of the build plates over to Simplify 3D and divided them up by color and type. And like I said, I tried to guess best what would be wood and what would be metal, and then that's how I divided up the build plates. Everything was printed with a 0.2 millimeter layer height, with 3 top layers, 3 bottom layers, and 3 perimeters, and anywhere between 5% infill and 15% infill. And for some of the hardware, I actually used 0% infill. As far as print speed goes, that's where the challenge is. I decided that I would gang up all the smaller parts onto the build plate, all the little hardware parts, all these little ones, and I do still have a couple of little pegs left to put in for the little cotter pins for the cannon, but it's sitting in there nice and tight anyway because I did get all the other pins in that were required. But these still have to go in. So I printed out a whole bunch of these along with some of the other hardware, and that was where the problem was, and I think I had it up a little bit too fast. So during the print, at one point with all my retraction, I was also using the enhanced gap fill option in Simplify 3D. And then the first part, which was the gear that goes through, as you can see, it's all blobby on the top. It actually grabbed onto the extruder from doing all those retraction and jumping around moves, and then it collided with another piece and popped that off the bed, and so on and so forth. But some of the parts were still good on the print bed because they had already completed printing, and that included all the little pins. And there were, I think, 8 to 10 of those. And there was also a little gear that's right here on the front, and there was the axles and a couple of the other parts that are internal inside here. And those were okay, so I had to go back to the drawing board and print it again. And what I ended up doing is I normally print something like a threaded gear or some kind of rod like this with a bunch of threads on it like this, standing up. But built into the model are some support pieces. So when you import the threaded rod that goes into the bottom here, that piece that's right there in the bottom, it comes in laying flat with a very small piece of support material built into the model. Print it like that, just print it low and slow, and it'll work, because it printed perfectly. Instead of standing it up, trying to be brave and print all these parts at once, I printed that part separately, just as the modeler intended it. So that was a success finally. And then I was able to assemble the whole model and put it all together. All in all, the print of the parts, the actual printing of the parts, it turned out really, really good. There are no blobs, there are no globs, there are no layer skips or layer shifts. There is one small area of little bit of fail inside the cannon itself, because I didn't want to use any support material. I don't know if you guys can see that inside there, but it's a little drooping happened. But I can just snip it out of there, and it's inside the cannon. You won't notice it too much. But the rest of the print, it turned out great. The assembly was really easy. Everything just slides together. I did use a little bit of a hammer, or just the handle of a sanding rod that I use to pound in some of these pins, because they can take it. This is Pro Series PLA, and it's just plastic. They fit in nice and snug, and I wanted to make sure that the gearbox that's in the bottom wasn't going to slide out. So when I turn this, I can just freely turn it and not worry about the bottom pieces falling out. So everything assembled pretty easily. It took about 5-10 minutes, plus a little bit of cleanup for a little bit of elephant footing again with my 105% by 105% height and width on my first layer. I got to remember to turn that off when you're making precise machine parts. But either way, the print turned out really, really cool. My gMax did a stellar job on the print. Besides having the print fail, which was basically because I tried to do something too fast, I learned my lesson. Take your time, slow it down, print the parts you need, and you'll have a perfect print. Well, that about wraps it up for day 261 of the 3DP 365 project. If you're looking for ways to support the channel, check out the affiliate links down in the description. If you purchase anything through MatterHackers, Amazon, or GearBest, it'll kick a little bit back to the channel. It won't cost you a penny, and I really appreciate it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share those videos, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.